if we want to create a permanent change in vibration. The key to this is getting to the core and becoming aware of our standing waves, becoming aware of our beliefs.
You felt it, didn't you? That moment when everything seemed lighter. The world around you slowed down. A calmness poured through your chest. Maybe it came after a deep meditation, a breathwork session, a sound bath, a sacred ceremony, or a long walk in silence. You felt powerful, awake, maybe even untouchable. But then, it faded. What happened? A glimpse of high vibration. Your old thoughts came back like uninvited guests. The calm you felt turned into restlessness. The world started pressing on your shoulders again, and before you knew it, you were right back where you started, scrolling, stressing, reacting, doubting. This is the part most people never talk about. The raise in your vibration is often temporary. It's a glimpse, not a landing, an invitation, not a guarantee. You weren't doing anything wrong. In fact, what you felt was real. But like a wave rising in the ocean, it had nowhere to go unless something within you was ready to receive it and hold it. So now we need to ask, what makes a spiritual high fade, and what can make it stay? Let's start with the truth. Raising your vibration isn't just about feeling good. It's not a mood. It's a frequency and a relationship to life. A high vibration doesn't mean you're always smiling or floating around in a meditative trance. It means your inner world has changed its rhythm. You've stopped dancing to the noise of the world and started humming to the beat of your own soul. But here's the tricky part. The world is loud and your soul is quiet. Your soul is quiet. And when that spiritual high hits, whether through breath, sound, stillness, love, or mystery, you get pulled into that quieter world. You feel your own energy expanding. You sense something deeper. But unless you've trained yourself to stay there, you slide right back out. The mystics of every tradition knew this well. That's why they didn't just chase moments. They practiced staying. Let me show you what I mean. In ancient Taoist philosophy, there's a phrase, Wu Wei. It means effortless action. Not lazy, not passive, but aligned, flowing with the Tao, the natural way of things. The Taoists knew that when you're living out of harmony, you are pulled in too many directions. Your mind splits, your breath tightens, your vibration scatters. But when you align with the natural rhythm of life, your energy becomes still and powerful. Sound familiar? That moment of stillness you once felt? That was you brushing against the Tao. But here's the catch. Unless your life is built to support that alignment, it vanishes like a dream the moment the noise creeps back in. The same is true in Hindu philosophy, where they speak of the three gunas, tamas, rajas, and sattva. Tamas is heaviness, laziness, confusion. Rajas is restlessness, desire, fire. Sattva is clarity, balance, purity. Most of us bounce between tamas and rajas, between numbness and overdrive. But when you raise your vibration, you taste sattva. You touch that rare middle point, calm but alive, focused but free. And once you've tasted it, nothing else feels real. But tasting it isn't the same as living in it. So again, we return to the question, why is it so easy to rise and so hard to stay? The answer lies in the habits of your nervous system. Your energy isn't separate from your body. It lives inside it. If your body has been trained to live in stress, scarcity, fear, or self-doubt, your nervous system will reject that high vibration the moment it arrives, not out of malice, but out of habit. It's like someone who's lived in the dark their whole life suddenly being thrown into sunlight. It's blinding, overwhelming. The instinct isn't to celebrate, It's to shut their eyes and run back to the shadows. So when your vibration rises, even if your soul longs for it, your body might panic. It wants to go back to what's familiar, even if what's familiar is hurting you. That's why so many spiritual seekers feel lost. Not because they haven't found the light, but because they don't know how to stay with it. They chase highs, a new workshop, a new retreat, a new teacher, a new ceremony, a new breathwork, and each time they rise. But the fall hits harder, and eventually the soul becomes tired of chasing. But here's the hidden grace in all of this. The fact that you keep coming back to the light means you remember it. That remembering is everything. It means there's a part of you, deep inside, that already knows how to live in that frequency. And that part is trying to wake up. You don't need more peaks. You need roots. You need the practices, the presence, and the patience to let your system adjust, to allow your body to feel safe in peace, to train your thoughts to align with stillness, to teach your heart that joy can stay. Because here's the truth most spiritual influencers won't tell you. Vibration is a muscle. And just like a muscle, you don't strengthen it by waiting for lightning to strike. You strengthen it by showing up every single day, even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it. But for now, just know this. You're not broken because you fall back. You're not weak because you still struggle. And you're not unworthy of the light just because you haven't learned how to live in it full time. You're becoming. And becoming takes time. Becoming takes choice. The choice to stop chasing highs. The choice to start building a foundation. That's what we'll do together. The choice to start. Something in you is done chasing the fleeting highs, done riding waves of clarity only to crash back into the confusion you swore you had outgrown. It means that some part of you, perhaps quiet but steady, is ready to hold the light instead of just visiting it. You're not here by mistake. You didn't stumble across this information by accident. You're here because you're done with quick fixes and emotional sugar highs dressed up as spirituality. You're not here to feel good for 10 minutes. You're here to live aligned, to feel grounded in your own power without needing something outside of you to give it shape. And to do that, you must begin to understand something few people will ever tell you. The energy you seek is not meant to be chased. It's meant to be built. Now we begin that practice, right here, right now, not by waiting for another mystical experience or a louder sign or someone to come along and show us how. We begin by looking where few look, into the ordinary. It might seem counterintuitive, especially in a world where spirituality is often dressed in incense and Instagram-worthy rituals. But the truth is this: a lasting vibration isn't born in mountain retreats or moonlit ceremonies. It's born in how you live your Tuesday mornings, in how you speak to yourself when no one is around, in the tiny micro moments that string your day together like pearls on a necklace. The way you move through these small, seemingly insignificant moments is exactly where your energy takes root, or where it leaks. That's because your vibration doesn't live in your intentions. It lives in your habits. There's a famous Zen proverb that says, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." And while it might sound poetic or even cryptic, it holds one of the most grounded truths about lasting transformation. Spiritual awakening doesn't mean you suddenly rise above life. It means you show up within life, but with new eyes, new breath, and a deeper, quieter connection that doesn't disappear just because things get messy. So if your habits are the bricks, then your awareness is the mortar that holds it all together. What are you repeating each day without realizing it? How are you moving from task to task, conversation to conversation, without once inviting your full presence to the moment at hand? If you wake up and the first thing you do is reach for your phone, scroll through a flood of information before you've even taken a single conscious breath. Then you've already handed your vibration over to the outer world before you even got a chance to meet yourself. Instead of anchoring yourself first, you're reacting, and a life built on reaction cannot hold a high frequency. That's why you must begin to create containers for presence, simple, repeatable rituals that bring you back to yourself before the world asks anything of you. Even if it's just 5 minutes at the start of your day, that's enough to shift everything. Light a candle, sit in silence, touch your heart, and say your own name gently like it matters. Let your nervous system begin the day not in alert, but in safety, because real vibrational elevation doesn't happen through hype. It happens through deep and lasting nervous system regulation. And this is what most spiritual teachings don't emphasize enough, that your body must be included in your spiritual practice. Your energy cannot stay elevated if your body is still in survival mode. You cannot hold light if your inner world still believes it's unsafe to relax, to soften, to trust. So many of us unknowingly walk through life with ancient agreements running beneath the surface, silent contracts made long ago, often during childhood, where we learned that love must be earned, that presence is dangerous, that we must always be alert in order to be safe. These agreements shape the baseline of your vibration more than any technique ever could. And so when you do have a spiritual experience, a moment of expansion, peace, or joy, it may feel like a betrayal to those older agreements. You might rise in vibration only to subconsciously sabotage that rise, not because you're weak, but because part of you is still loyal to the old patterns of fear, contraction, and scarcity. That's why the work is not just about feeling better. It's about renegotiating who you believe you are allowed to become. When you begin to say things like, "I no longer agree to live in inner war," or "I no longer choose chaos just because it's familiar," you are not just reciting affirmations, you are rewriting your energy signature. And you don't need to do it all at once. You don't need to become a new person overnight. You just need to choose presence more often than absence. You just need to build tiny sanctuaries of intention throughout your day, moments where you pause, breathe, remember that you're not just surviving this life, but shaping it from the inside out. These moments become rituals, not grand or theatrical, but sacred through your attention. Boiling water, washing your face, walking barefoot, these can all become gateways into steadiness if you bring your whole self into them. That's what the whirling dervishes of the Sufi tradition understood. They didn't spin to escape life. They spun to become one with the center that never moves, no matter how fast the world turns. And that's your task too. Not to stop the spinning of life, not to isolate yourself from the chaos, but to become so rooted in your own inner center that the chaos can't pull you away anymore. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't tell Arjuna to seek eternal happiness. He tells him to become steady, unmoved by both pain and pleasure, because it's in that steadiness that liberation becomes possible. And steadiness, in energetic terms, is the new foundation you're learning to build right now. You're not here to feel a little better. You're here to become unshakable, and that begins not with some magical event or quantum leap. It begins with you choosing your state again and again until it becomes second nature, until your nervous system says, "Yes, this peace is safe now," until your body and your soul are finally speaking the same language. But for now, let this settle. You don't need to rise higher than you already are. You just need to remember how to stay longer. And you will. You can rise high. By now, something in you is starting to understand that this path isn't about how high you can rise, but how deeply you can stay. You're beginning to see that the real transformation doesn't come from chasing light, but from standing in it long enough to let it change you. And yet, maybe even now, You're feeling something stirring inside you when things start to feel good, too good even. A quiet resistance, a shadow tugging at the edge of your joy, a voice whispering, "This won't last." That voice is not crazy and it's not wrong. It's ancient. It is the voice of old emotional signatures running through your nervous system like well-worn grooves in a record. And until those grooves are rewritten, until you change the emotional blueprint you've been carrying inside your body for years or even decades, your vibration will always return to that baseline, no matter how high you rise. Let me tell you something that most people will never say out loud. We fear staying happy. Not because we don't want it, but because we don't trust it. We don't believe we're safe in joy, in peace, in softness, because for many of us, those moments never came without a price. You've felt it before, haven't you? That quiet moment of expansion when everything feels aligned, like something ancient inside you has clicked into place. And then, just as fast, you crash. Not because the moment wasn't real, not because your frequency wasn't high, but because something inside you panicked. We've learned to survive through contraction, through tension, through vigilance. So when the nervous system finally opens and the body realizes it's not bracing anymore, fear kicks in. Not because something bad is happening, but because nothing bad is happening. And that's new, that's unfamiliar, and to the trauma-patterned parts of your system, unfamiliar equals danger. That's why building a permanent vibration is not just about staying in high energy. It's about teaching your body that it's safe to stay there. Think about it this way. Your body is like a tuning fork. If your dominant frequency for years has been fear or performance or people-pleasing, then the moment you raise your vibration, that old frequency will begin to shake. It will start to rattle because it's no longer aligned with the new note you're trying to hold. And instead of gently allowing the old note to dissolve, we often interpret that shake as something's wrong. But what if nothing's wrong? What if what you're feeling is not danger but detox? What if the discomfort you feel in joy is not a sign to contract, but an invitation to stay, to breathe, to rewrite the agreement? Here's what you need to understand. You cannot hold a vibration that your emotional body is still at war with. You can say affirmations all day. You can chant, visualize, journal, cleanse your aura with sound bowls and crystals. But if your inner child still flinches when things get soft, if there's a part of you that tenses every time you relax, because you were taught that relaxation means something bad is coming, then your frequency will eventually collapse back into what feels familiar. This is not your fault. This is programming, conditioning, survival instinct, and it can be rewritten. But you don't rewrite it with force. You rewrite it with safety, with space, with slowness. You rewrite it by building emotional fluency with the very feelings you've been avoiding. Feelings like guilt for feeling good, shame around taking up space, fear of being seen in your joy. Because the truth is, when your vibration rises and stays, it will create change. Not just within you, but around you. Your relationships will shift. Your boundaries will sharpen. People will fall away, not because you're better than them, but because you're finally aligned with truth, and not everyone wants to meet you there. So part of holding a high vibration is grieving what that new altitude will cost you, and still choosing to rise anyway. In many indigenous traditions, when a person experienced emotional or spiritual awakening, the community would guide them through a rite of passage, not to teach them how to rise, but to teach them how to return, to walk among the people again, changed but grounded, open but protected. Because awakening is not just about expansion, it's about integration. And integration happens when you stop asking your vibration to fix you, and instead let it show you who you've always been. That's when the fear softens. That's when joy becomes not just a visitor, but a home. That's when your energy stops peaking and crashing like a wave and begins to hum like a steady current beneath your life. You can't fake that. You can't skip that. You have to feel your way there, one breath at a time. So here's a small practice to begin. Next time you feel good, really good, pause. Don't rush to post about it. Don't distract yourself. Just pause. Put your hand on your chest. Say to yourself gently, "It's safe to feel this. I'm not in trouble. I'm not alone. I'm not bad for receiving this." Let your nervous system hear you. Let your inner child believe you. Let your emotional body melt into the truth that you are safe now. That's how you hold a frequency, not by forcing it, but by loving the parts of you that still don't believe they deserve it. And when those parts are loved long enough, they stop sabotaging, they stop panicking, and your vibration stops crashing. Your body is your instrument. There's a belief from an old group of mountain people in Eastern Europe, almost no one talks about them anymore, who lived deep in the forest and swore by this truth. The earth only listens when you hum to it. They believed your body was an instrument, and that your mood, your breath, even your thoughts, made music that either helped or hurt the earth around you. If you hummed or moved with love, they believed the trees responded. The ground softened. The clouds changed shape. They didn't have big ceremonies or loud chants. They didn't have gurus or temples. They had songs, simple ones. They had rhythm. They had breath. And they had one job each day: stay in tune with life. I share that with you not to sound poetic, but to remind you, vibration is not something you chase. It's something you become. And to become it, you need ritual, not routines. Routines are for getting things done. Rituals are for becoming someone new, and the right ritual will change your frequency from the inside out. Let's talk about how. One of the oldest and most forgotten rituals for raising your vibration isn't spiritual at all, it's physical. This group I mentioned, they believed your body had to move to hold joy. They believed that if you didn't move the energy, it would get trapped, that it would spoil, that it would turn against you. So they walked every morning, barefoot if possible, not far, not fast, just enough to let the earth feel them. They said walking before the mind starts speaking is the way to keep your heart leading the day. And that part of the reason your vibration crashes later is because your mind hijacks what your heart tried to create in the morning. So try this. Before checking your phone, before speaking to anyone, just walk. Even if it's in circles inside your room. Breathe. Let your thoughts fall away. Let your body tell you what it feels. Because your body knows things your brain forgot. They also used sound, not in the way we use music today, but in tiny repeated tones. They believed humming tuned the organs. They believed each sound fed a different part of the body. A low hum for the stomach, a high hum for the heart, a soft hum for the spine. No science, just feeling, just trust. Try it. Sit still, pick one note, any note. Hum it with your mouth closed. See where you feel it. The chest, the belly, the head. Then switch the note. Hum higher, hum lower. See what changes. The point is not to perform. The point is to listen to how your energy responds. That response is your vibration shifting. There's something else they did that you almost never hear about today. They gave the earth their worries, on purpose. Every dusk before going to sleep, they'd kneel or sit or lay down if they were sick or tired, and they'd whisper what they didn't want to carry anymore. They believed that unspoken pain becomes invisible weight, and that if you didn't give it to the earth, it would follow you into your dreams and change your reality. But the key was how they gave it. They didn't beg, they didn't cry out. They thanked the earth. They said, You know how to hold this better than I do. You can try this too. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't need incense or crystals or full moons. Just honesty. Just your hand on the floor or on a tree, or even on your own body. Say quietly, I'm done carrying this feeling. I give it back to life. I trust life to turn it into something softer. Rituals like this change your vibration not because they're magic, but because they honor emotion. And emotion is energy moving through your body. When you name the emotion, when you give it somewhere to go, it moves. When it moves, your vibration rises. Now, let's talk about rhythm. These people believed you couldn't rise too high too fast, or you'd break something inside. So they used rhythm, tiny, repeated actions, to raise their frequency slowly. They stirred their drinks clockwise. They tapped on stones. They clapped 3 times before speaking to a group. Always rhythm, always movement. You can do this too. Stir your tea with presence. Tap your feet softly when you feel low. Rock your body gently side to side before sleep. It sounds silly, but rhythm gives your nervous system something to hold on to. And when your nervous system feels held, your frequency can rise without fear. One more ritual, maybe the most powerful of all, looking at something on purpose. These people believed your eyes fed your soul, that what you looked at every morning shaped your vibration for the whole day. So they would place objects, leaves, shells, drawings, feathers, next to their beds, and when they woke up, they would look at beauty first, not to take a picture, not to analyze, just to receive, to remind themselves what kind of world they wanted to live in. You can try this easily. Put something near your bed that makes you feel warm inside. It could be a photo, a stone, a quote. When you open your eyes, look at it for 10 seconds. Let it imprint on you. Let it speak to your energy before the world does. Because what you look at, you absorb. And what you absorb becomes your vibration. All these small things, walking, humming, releasing, rhythm, sight, they are how people used to build their vibration before apps, before books, before formulas. Not with force, but with presence. Not with fear, but with trust. The vibration you seek is already inside you. These rituals just help you remember. They don't fix, they reveal. They don't change who you are. They bring you back to who you've always been beneath the static. The earth already listens. The body already knows. Now it's your turn to meet them halfway. Make it permanent. You've walked, you've hummed, you've whispered to the earth, you've followed the rituals, you've done the work. But let's be honest, maybe something still doesn't stick. Maybe you raise your vibration for a day, maybe a week, but then it fades. You feel like you're back at square one, starting over again. Why does this happen? Because there's a part of you that doesn't believe you're allowed to stay in that higher state. That part is what I call your energetic identity. It's not your job title. It's not your personality. It's not even how others see you. It's the deep, often hidden sense of who you think you are, especially when no one is looking. It's the story you carry under your skin. And that story has rules. Rules about how much love you're allowed to feel, how much peace is safe, how much joy is too much. And these rules don't come from logic. They come from pain, from the past, from moments that told you it wasn't safe to shine too bright, speak too loud, or feel too good for too long. See, most people try to raise their vibration like they're fixing a broken machine. They do all the right things, but deep down, they still believe the same story. This version of me won't last. That belief, no matter how buried, is powerful, because it doesn't just sit there. It pulls you back, again and again, to the version of you that matches the story. Think of it like a house. If your energetic identity says, "I only deserve a small house," you'll start knocking down walls anytime it grows. You'll start leaking energy. You'll get tired. You'll self-sabotage. And you might not even realize you're doing it. Because energy always tries to match identity. This is why it's not enough to think positively. You have to become someone who believes they can live in that higher energy. And to do that, you have to rewrite your inner story. There's an old parable that speaks to this. It's about a lion who was raised by sheep. He ate grass. He followed the flock. He learned to fear wolves and storms. He never questioned it, until one day another lion saw him drinking water and came close. The lion roared. The sheep lion froze. He wanted to run, but the other lion said, "Look in the water." And when the sheep lion saw his reflection, really saw it, he realized he wasn't a sheep after all. He was never meant to live in fear. That's what this is about, seeing yourself clearly, not the version shaped by old wounds, but the one that's been under the surface all along. So how do you shift your energetic identity? First, you have to catch the old voice. That quiet one that says things like, "This is too good to be true," or "Don't get your hopes up," or "You always mess things up." That voice is not your truth. It's your defense. It was built to keep you safe, not free. When that voice comes, don't fight it. Just ask, whose voice is this? Is it a parent's, a teacher's, a memory? Most of the time, it's not even yours. And when you name it, it starts to lose its grip. Then you start feeding the new voice, the one that says, "It's okay to feel good for longer than a moment." The one that says, "My body is safe in joy." The one that says, "I don't have to earn rest or light or peace. I just have to allow it." This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about giving space to a voice that's been waiting to speak. Your vibration rises when you feel like your body and soul are on the same side, when your thoughts, feelings, and energy are allowed to stretch beyond old limits. And identity, your inner sense of who you are, is what decides those limits. Here's a small practice that helps. Write a letter from your future self, but not the rich version or the famous version. Write from the version of you who finally feels safe in their energy, who doesn't shrink, who doesn't explain themselves, who trusts their calm. Ask that version, "What did I have to let go of to become you?" And let the answer come naturally. Often it's not big. It's a small belief, a single thought, a rule that no longer fits. Now here's something most people miss. Your nervous system is part of your identity. If your body is used to stress, then peace can feel like danger. If your system is trained to look for problems, joy will feel unfamiliar. So when you raise your vibration, your nervous system might panic. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because it's never been here before. That panic doesn't mean stop. It means stay gently. Breathe through it. Soothe the body like you would soothe a scared child. Say, "It's okay. We're safe. We're allowed to feel this good." That moment, when you soothe instead of sabotage, is how your identity starts to shift. Because now, you're not just visiting a higher vibration. You're becoming someone who belongs there. You're no longer the sheep pretending to be small. You're the lion remembering your nature. And just like the lion, it starts with a single reflection, a single moment where you say, "Maybe I'm not who I thought I was." That moment is your key. That moment is your freedom. So if your vibration keeps crashing, if peace always slips away, if joy feels temporary, ask yourself, what part of me still believes it's not safe to live in the light? That part needs love. Not fixing, not pushing, just presence, just truth. Because identity is not permanent. It's a choice repeated over time. And the more you choose the version of you that feels real, soft, grounded, brave, the longer your vibration holds. Not because you forced it, not because you faked it, but because you became someone who could carry it. Don't let your digital energy be drained. You've done the rituals, you've breathed in stillness, you've even begun to shift your identity. But then, without knowing how or when, the heaviness returns. The doubt creeps in. The noise outside starts to feel louder than the silence within. And most of the time it happens right after you pick up your phone. This isn't your fault. The world is built now to keep you plugged in, scrolling, comparing, reacting. What most people don't realize is that every swipe, tap and scroll is a transfer of energy. Not just information, not just entertainment, energy. Digital energy is real. It doesn't just sit on your screen, it moves through you. When you scroll past a post that makes you feel not enough, your body registers it before your mind does. When you watch someone else succeed while you're still struggling, even if you don't say it out loud, part of you contracts. And when you take in news soaked in fear or chaos, your nervous system absorbs that frequency like a sponge. Your vibration doesn't just rise through meditation, it also gets shaped by what you consume, digitally. Let's look at it this way. Imagine your energy field is like a cup of clear water. Every image, comment, video and voice you invite into your space is like adding a drop of color into that water. Some of it is light and beautiful, but some of it, let's be honest, is heavy, cloudy, dark. You keep adding drop after drop, and then wonder why your water doesn't feel clear anymore. It's not that your vibration failed, it's that you're not guarding it. We've been taught how to protect our homes, our passwords, our privacy, but not our inner field. Now, I'm not saying to throw away your phone. This isn't about fear, it's about choice. We live in a time when your soul is constantly being broadcasted back at you through algorithms, ads and avatars. Your digital space is a mirror. What you interact with becomes the echo in your subconscious. That's why one of the biggest keys to maintaining a high vibration is digital awareness. Start with how you feel after you spend time online. Do you feel expanded or deflated? Calm or anxious? Inspired or numb? Your body knows. If your heart feels tighter, your breath shorter, your mind more scattered, that's a sign the digital energy you absorbed is not in alignment with where you want to stay vibrationally. Some say, it's just Instagram, or it's just TikTok. But the soul doesn't know the difference between real life and digital life. If it feels unsafe, unworthy, or overstimulated, it will contract no matter where the input came from. This is why curating your digital world is a spiritual practice. You are not just following people, you are following frequencies. Be mindful of what kind of messages you allow in. Pay attention to the pages you visit when you're sad, lonely, bored. Many of us are feeding our lowest selves when we're most vulnerable. And when you do this often, your vibration becomes trained to expect that feeling, even when you're offline. Let's go deeper with a parable. There's an old tale about a monk who visited a town filled with noise, conflict, and gossip. He stayed quiet, walked gently, and left early. When asked why he didn't try to help or stay longer, he said, "Even the strongest candle can be smothered in the wrong wind. I must protect my flame before I offer light to others." That's you. That's all of us. You can't maintain a high vibration if you're constantly placing yourself in winds that blow against it, especially digital ones. So what can you do? You start small, you start soft. Create a sacred space inside your phone. Follow people who make you feel seen, who breathe life into your lungs, who remind you of your worth, your magic, your stillness. And equally important, unfollow anything that brings tightness to your chest. Not out of hate, not even judgment, just clarity. If their energy pulls you away from yourself, you can bless them and walk away. Set tech boundaries not as discipline, but as devotion. For example, no checking your phone for the first 30 minutes after waking up. Why? Because your brain is in a gentle, open state, and whatever enters in that time imprints deeper. Begin to treat your feed like an altar. Only place things on it that honor your spirit, and then go one step further. Ask yourself, what do I create digitally? What do I post? What do I share? You are also a broadcaster. You don't have to be perfect, polished, or fake. But if you want to live in a higher vibration, ask if the energy you're putting out reflects the vibration you want to stay in. We don't just absorb, we emit. So if you're constantly posting from a place of fear, anger, or proving yourself, you're reinforcing a loop that pulls your vibration back down. And it's subtle. You won't notice it until you stop. But once you do, once you step back, unplug, and breathe in your own energy without distraction, something beautiful happens. You remember what you feel like, and that memory becomes your anchor. Digital energy isn't good or bad. It's powerful, it's shapeable, it's yours to command. So treat your digital space like you would a temple. Clean it, light it, protect it, bless it, and above all, don't lose yourself inside it, because your energy is sacred, and your vibration isn't just something to raise, it's something to guard, to live inside, to choose over and over again. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.